Hello there, thanks for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard and got a Doors poster from that magical summer of 1967 when they burst upon the scene, of course. This is nice and early and it's from their hometown. I just love it. The Santa Monica Civic Auditorium, which was less than 10 years old at this point in July of 1967, still standing. Anyway, just a nice red and yellow psychedelic design on this hometown poster for the Doors. And it's red and white, and the design is by somebody given only as Michelle on the poster, so that's kind of cute and kind of quaint. I guess she came up with the the tree motif and the Doors lettering being part of the tree branches and stuff like that. And it measures 14 by 20 inches and was printed on yellow paper. Now up in the upper left-hand corner, you might see, it says, if you can make that out there, sort of within something with wings and psychedelic eyes, it does say, Gadfly presents. Gadfly, quite a promoter. And then you've got the Doors there again with the, the lettering as part of the foliage and the trees and everything. Nice big tree branch psychedelic look to it there. And then you've got the opening acts, of course. It's always nice to have a couple of those on a poster. And on the left there, you've got Iron Butterfly. Now, interestingly, everybody knows In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, who was around in the 60s. Iron Butterfly from San Diego, and they had not made their splash yet, though. It wouldn't be till '68 that they released In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. What's interesting is that album, which I had at the time, sold 30 million copies eventually, and that outsold any Doors album. So that's funny. The Doors have a much stronger place in history, but boy, Iron Butterfly can really take credit for having sold. I think that's one of the 20 to 30 biggest selling albums in rock history. When you hit 30 million, that's just an enormous number. So it's kind of funny. Here they are opening for the Doors, and they outsold the Doors with their best album, their landmark album. So that's pretty funny. But anyway, and then the opening act on the right side you've got is Rubber Maze, and that's a much less known, they didn't sell 30 million of anything, a garage rock band that had a single on Tower Records the following year in 1968, the same small American label that Pink Floyd's first album and singles were released on as well. And then under Rubber Maze there, if you can take a look at it, it does say Michelle. Copyright 67, and I suppose, I don't know why she wanted to keep her last name, although after the copyright 67 there are a few more letters. I can't quite make them out, but I don't think it's her last name, I think it's something else there. But hey, a first name credit is better than a lot of these 60s one-off posters where they just didn't put their name at all, and it's you're left to just wonder until they finally raise their hand and say, hey, it was me. So as you can see, the other, writing down toward the bottom there, you've got Lights, Piccadilly, and then Santa Monica Civic. Now remember, the Doors spent a lot of time in their early days at Venice Beach. Jim Morrison and Ray hanging out and everything, and Venice Beach and Santa Monica Civic and Pier and everything were all very adjacent and close community there. So this probably felt very much, this might be, well, the Cheetah in Venice would be very much a, ground zero hometown venue, but this would be just one step away from that. So they must have been very comfortable playing this, and they probably saw some concerts themselves as fans at the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium. And then you've got, down there in the strip, down along the bottom, taking care of the details, tickets available, Santa Monica Civic box office, all mutual agencies, very common thing for an LA poster in the 60s, Wallach's Music City stores, another very common thing, and Kazoo bookstore. I think that's the nice touch we're looking for, the nice, what was that? Scratch your head, no longer exists and so forth, or even the knowledge of it doesn't. And then it's kind of weird down there in the lower right, in very non-psychedelic poster fashion, almost like, it's kind of stark there. It says, time of performance, 8:30 p.m. It's just kind of funny. I don't know why Michelle didn't put that into her design of the poster, and so the, the official powers that be felt they needed to strip that in along the bottom to inform pundits, but still 8:30 p.m. it was. So the summer of 1967, I'll tell you, that's, again, this is July 3rd, so it's 4th of July weekend for this, and it's just so much fun with the Doors because that was the year, naturally, they exploded onto the scene with Light My Fire and everything. And so this very week, July 3rd of 67, the Doors had their debut album in the national top 20, and Light My Fire was at number 12 on the Billboard singles chart, However, the next week, yep, it would pop into the top 10 and eventually hit #1 by the time, in fact, by the time July was over. Should point up here to the date. Yeah, Light My Fire would go to number. So this is a concert poster for the Doors in their hometown the same month that their first single went to #1 and their signature song. That's pretty darn cool, naturally. And by the end of the summer, their album would reach the lofty #2 position, kept out of the #1 spot only by the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And of course, that's one story about making chart action in the 60s and trying to reach the top. So often you would reach #2 because a little pop group from Liverpool would be occupying the top spot for so many weeks. But great psychedelic hometown 67 Doors concert poster there, the Santa Monica Civic Auditorium. I've probably seen 30 or 40 shows there over the years. And, you know, just a really sweet piece from the early days. And a nice, you know, I just love this one-off stuff. One here, one there. Never heard of the artist again. It's just really makes poster collecting fun, is what it does. It's just, you know, unpredictable and hard to find these things, and it's just really fun to examine them and just try to imagine, you know, what the artist was thinking, and then of course what the night was like that night for the band playing at an intimate 3,000-seater like the Santa Monica Civic. Anyway, hope you enjoy the poster. Thanks a lot for stopping by, and we'll see you next time soon. Bye-bye.